All right, everybody. So in today's Marketing Cloud session for the MinuteAdmin Career Development Program, we are going to just cover the Marketing Cloud exam outline. And we're going to spend some time going over what to expect to actually pass the Marketing Cloud Email Specialist certification. So in this session, we're specifically talking about the Email Specialist certification. We're going to cover the exam outline. And we're also going to take some time to just do a Q&A session for the members of the Marketing Cloud Career Development Program on this specific call. So everybody in this call right now has either finished the Marketing Cloud Career Development Program videos for the Marketing Cloud Email Specialist certification portion, and they have questions, or they're still going through the seven-day Marketing Cloud Email Specialist part of the course. So with that being said, all of the people on this call are members, and we will be going over Q&A and the Email Specialist exam outline. With that being said, let's go ahead and go to Trailhead here. And on Trailhead, we are at the exam outline for the Email Specialist certification. So the first place I want to start is here, because the exam is going to be essentially what's covered in the exam outline. So there's only 7 sections on the exam outline here. So what you're going to be tested on to actually get this cert and then go get a job, or vice versa, you're going to study on the exam outline here. So I don't want you to be caught off surprise and say, I didn't know what was on the exam by the time you show up and you actually take it. I want you to just be very well aware of what's going to be on the exam outline. So for each section of the exam, there's different weightings, like there's different portions of the exam. So obviously we can see here for subscriber and data management, it's 28% of the exam. And there's really only 4 topics that are covered underneath here. But in those 4 topics, there's going to be multiple different types of questions, and there's going to be probably different versions of the same type of questions, just to get you to really understand subscriber and data management. Now, the reason this is super important is because just like in the career development course, this was the foundation. This is the stepping stone for anything else that you build out in Marketing Cloud. So what I also want to just show here is there's a structure for how you actually go about doing every Marketing Cloud project. So every Marketing Cloud project actually starts off with data. So the subscriber and data management piece is really a huge portion of every Marketing Cloud project. Now, I don't want to just go from there and just just talk about the exam outline here. I also want to just show you this lucid chart that I've created, and everybody should have access to this lucid chart, by the way. If you don't, just let me know, and I will go ahead and put this into the course. But basically, the exam outline has been broken up here with a real world scenario. So whenever you're talking about the exam outline, if I can go back, but basically what I've got here is a scenario saying, Elon Musk wants to sell more Tesla Model S's in the month of July. Now, everybody is pretty familiar with Tesla, which is why I used this scenario. So I think for people to understand the actual exam outline, we need a real world use case to understand what's even being covered in the exam. So instead of looking at, this right here, this exam outline, which doesn't really make much sense to a lot of people. They're like, okay, I know I need to study these bullet points. That's fine. But I think people need a real world scenario to really dive into this exam outline. So that's what I've done with this lucid chart here. So what you'll be able to see here is up here, we have the business scenario. And then down here in these little colored boxes, we have each section of the exam. So as you can see, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 sections on the exam here. And then you see here, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 little blue rectangles here, or sorry, not blue, but colored rectangles here. So each one of these colored rectangles actually corresponds to each one of these sections here. And then what I've done, instead of saying bullet points, I've turned these bullet points into questions here. All right, so essentially what we're looking at here is the exam outline. So what I want to cover actually is not this page here. I want to cover this lucid chart, but I wanted to show you this is what I got the lucid chart from. So we're covering the exam outline just in a different fashion, a different way. So let's go ahead and just continue looking here at this lucid chart. And I want to just pretty much break down a real world scenario. So let's just say that Elon Musk wants to sell more Tesla Model S's in any month. Now, when I made this lucid chart, it was the month of July, but we're in November. So let's just say in the month of November. So how's Elon going to sell more Tesla Model S's in the month of November? So Elon's going to run a July or November marketing campaign to sell 100,000 Model S cars. What's the ultimate goal? How's he going to make that happen? How's he going to sell all those cars? So the end goal is that Elon wants to eventually run a campaign in Journey Builder. So we know Journey Builder is a builder inside of Marketing Cloud. So how's he going to get to that end stage? How's he going to get to the very end part of what pretty much every company wants to do, which is run journeys in Marketing Cloud? Well, to do that, he has to know the email marketing rule book or the playbook to email marketing. You can't start sending these massive messages until you actually understand the foundation, the basics. Now, in the email specialist exam, that portion is called email marketing best practices, which is 15% of the test. So if we just go back here, if we just look back, that's this portion of the test, email marketing best practices. Now notice it makes more sense because it's not just bullets on an exam outline. It's actually something that relates to a business scenario. So email marketing best practices is actually the foundation to email marketing because I need to learn the rule book before I start playing the game. Now, as you see here, we have questions that relate to the bullet points. So the first question is, how do we actually get subscribers into Marketing Cloud? The second is, are there certain ways we have to communicate with our Tesla customers? Notice how these questions are actually just from the bullet points here. So actually that first question was demonstrate appropriate and effective subscriber acquisition methodologies. Notice if you were to read this, this would probably be extremely difficult for you to even understand what subscriber acquisition methodologies even means because it's so complex of a sentence, right? Now, I just try to, in everything I do, break down complex things and make them super simple. So as you can see with this one, demonstrate appropriate and effective subscriber acquisition methodologies. That's essentially just me saying this right here. How do we actually get subscribers into Marketing Cloud? That's all the question is saying here. So as you can see, there's an easy way to actually study for these exams if we actually break down the questions into what they're actually trying to ask and then actually answering the questions. So if you can answer question number one, which is how do we actually get subscribers into Marketing Cloud, which is, you can do APIs, you can do a data import with, a CSV file into a data extension or into a list. You could do all types of different things. You could do a data import activity. So once you understand how to actually answer these questions, you'll start to see, wait a second, I'm actually able to pass the exam because I can answer these questions on the exam outline. So I just wanted to pretty much say everything that I just mentioned, like all of this, the framework that I just used for that portion of the test, which is email marketing best practices, is actually used for every section of the exam on the exam outline. So as you can see here, we have 28% of the test, which is subscriber and data management. And I've turned these into questions as well. I've turned all of the bullet points underneath that section of the exam into questions. So as you can see, hopefully it's starting to make more sense around how to actually study for the email specialist certification, and not just the email specialist cert, but the Marketing Cloud administrator, Marketing Cloud consultant, Marketing Cloud developer. You can take this framework and pretty much create your own real world scenario. I just use Tesla. You could use any company. You could use, Lamborghini, BMW. You could use, Ticketmaster, AT&T, whichever company you want. So in this session today, just want to kind of briefly talk about that. And then now want to kind of just go over, any questions that anybody has, because what we're going to do from each session here on out is we're going to build upon this framework, because essentially what the Marketing Cloud Career Development Program has done has basically, I've taken a real world scenario, which is a resort project. And I have said, hey, we're going to cover the Marketing Cloud Email Specialist exam outline as we do a real world project. So I'm basically showing you how a real world project is actually run, and I'm showing you what's going to be on the email specialist exam. So every session we have from here on out will build upon this exam, and we'll build upon real world projects. So we're going to move into the Q&A portion of this session, so that if there's anything that's unclear, or if there's anything I need to add into the course based on what I've talked about today, we can do that. And I see that we have one question already. So I'm going to take that question. I'm going to keep recording the screen and just talk through the questions here. So Suresh says, Kaylin, this diagram is beautiful, very informative. Thank you so much for your effort to put all the info together in a diagram. Yeah, Suresh. So essentially, I saw there was a big need for studying for exams. And like I said, this isn't just for the email specialist exam. I also have this exam this diagram for the Salesforce administrator certification. And I can put the link to that in the description below as well. So if you're watching this on YouTube, you'll have this. But if you're also watching this right within the course, you'll also have that as well in the description below. So just want to say thank you for that. But yeah, Suresh, I've also got, this for the Salesforce administrator cert, because I pretty much noticed that, people weren't understanding the exam outline when they were looking at it on Trailhead here. I think people need a visual representation, and they also need these questions broken down into simple terms. So I'm glad that this helps out for you here. Like I said,
yeah, Kevin, thank you so much. I mean, I think this is the first time that I'm seeing converting like thousands of lines into a single diagram where we can easily get in single place.
Yeah, definitely, man. I'm happy to help. I'm happy to help with that. So also, are there any other questions from Aman, Andrew, Amit, Xavier? I know that you guys have already some of you have already started taking the course. Some of you have already, had some questions, but I want to take some time to really even answer some questions around the course itself, or maybe even you have some career questions. Just go ahead and ask those questions on this call while we still have some time left. Feel free to come off of mute. Feel free to ask in the chat, however you want to ask, however you feel comfortable.
I have a few questions.
Okay, Andrew. Yep.
And I guess I'll keep it to first, the questions I'll ask are kind of like more general, just in the general approach. And then I do actually have questions about material in the course, but maybe if we have time today, we can do those or save them for another time. But the first question I have is, like, I just came off studying for the admin exam. And with the admin exam, I have plenty of like sandboxes and YouTube videos, and there's a million different study guides and resources. And with Marketing Cloud, I really, there's your course and that's about it. So yeah. How do I go about approaching this when I don't have access to Marketing Cloud? Because I am someone that benefits from getting their hands dirty and playing around with the actual system itself. And that was how I ended up passing the admin exam, was when I actually really dug in and got real world experience. With this, I mean, I'm going to watch your videos and study all the material, but I mean, I guess I need to change my approach since I won't have general access. So what are your thoughts?
Yeah, so that's a great question. And that's one of the most common questions is how do you approach actually, I guess, there's two things with I think your end goal is. Your two end goals are get the Marketing Cloud email specialist certification, B, get a Marketing Cloud job, right? Like those are the two main priorities, I think, for everybody here. And I would say for everybody watching, because, most people are going to get the certification before they get the job, or, some people get the job before they get the cert. You could do either way. I'm not saying you can't do it, but so I think your goals are email specialist cert and getting a job. So how do you go about learning Marketing Cloud enough to be able to even get this certification and get a job, feel confident talking to employers about Marketing Cloud to get a job? Because most of the time you need sandbox and you need to play around in it. So to answer that question, what we're going to do is we are going to have to take a different approach. I mean, there's no way around it, man. Like, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I'm not going to say, you get your own Marketing Cloud org and, or I'm going to give you access. I can't give you access, So the thing about this approach towards Marketing Cloud is I want you to know a couple of things here. So the first thing I want you to know is that, first of all, Marketing Cloud is not as big as Salesforce. So there's not as much like that. It's not as big of a system as Salesforce. There's so much you can do in Salesforce. It is still a big system, but it's much more niche down. So the first thing I want you to know is don't think you're going to be, as overwhelmed as you were when you were studying for Salesforce admin. The second thing I want you to know is that as long as you know the 6 core parts of every Marketing Cloud implementation, which are what I'm showing on the screen here, these little boxes that are colored, as long as you understand what is being questioned underneath these boxes right here, as long as you can answer that, you will be able to A, get the email specialist certification, and B, talk about Marketing Cloud enough and know about Marketing Cloud well enough to be able to be successful in job interviews. So with that being said, like you said, there is a different approach you have to take. This is why I want the collaboration piece for this program to really expand, because we're going to need feedback on which sort of videos would you like to see. So if you're not understanding something underneath, let's say, subscriber and data management here on this first step, we're going to have to collaborate, do sessions, and actually, go into Marketing Cloud in these videos or in these sessions like we're at right here. And we're going to have to be able to work together to say, hey, Kaylin, there's something I'm not understanding on how do we import our customers into a list or data extension? And then on these sessions or in a video, answer that question specifically for you. Since there is a lack, sorry, go ahead. Okay, sorry. I heard some feedback there. But since there's a lack of access to Marketing Cloud, we're going to have to get on these calls and we're going to have to do these sessions. And then we're going to have to upload these recorded sessions back into the course. And I'm going to have to create, videos that answer your questions. Like, how do we import our customers into lists or data extensions? Now, in the Marketing Cloud Career Development Program, there is a video all about importing data, and it shows that. But maybe you don't understand a process and we have to come over into, Email Studio. And then once we're in here, we have to come over to our data extensions and then come into an actual data extension like, let's say this resort guest data extension. And then, come over here and actually import records and actually click the import button right here and start importing manually, and me show you how to do that. So we're just going to have to really create more documentation and kind of be the answer for the lack of documentation in the ecosystem. So it's really a part of you doing the course, providing feedback, really being a key part in joining these sessions, and me just kind of walking us through what you're not understanding here. Because like you said, there isn't any sort of access, but I think if you're able to at least attend sessions like this, where I kind of walk you through the system, walk you through certain features that you're going to need to know to actually pass the exam, then you'll be able to understand what's going on here. It's just a collaboration thing, man. Like more videos, more sessions like this, more group call sessions like this, just to make up for the lack of access that you have to the system. So hopefully that answers, I think, until Marketing Cloud or until Salesforce creates sandboxes for people to actually play around in. This is our really only option. But then again, this is a great option because you're actually working with me, who's certified to be a coach and to be an instructor for Marketing Cloud. So I'm not gonna, be teaching you stuff that's going to waste your time. So everything we're going to be covering here is going to actually go towards passing the certification and getting a job. So hopefully that answers that question for you. I've got a couple more chats here. Aman saying, do we need experience as a Salesforce administrator and developer before we get a job in the Marketing Cloud? Great question, Aman. That is a question I get a lot of times. Do we need experience as a Salesforce admin? You don't technically need experience as a Salesforce admin. So I've actually met a lot of people who know Marketing Cloud only. So as you can see, let's just take a look really quick here. Look at how different Marketing Cloud, just the UI, looks, other than, if I was to go to login.salesforce.com and actually log in here to let's just say a sandbox or a developer edition org. These are two completely different orgs here, right? So the way Salesforce is set up and the way Marketing Cloud is set up, they're two completely separate logins. This is mc.exacttarget.com and this is login.salesforce.com. So these are two completely different systems, which, to answer your question, Aman, says they're two completely different skill sets. Now, the beauty of it is Salesforce and Marketing Cloud actually connect through the Marketing Cloud connector, and you can have the two speak to each other. So you can keep your CRM data inside of Salesforce, and then you can send it over to Marketing Cloud and actually send email messages to people and through Marketing Cloud. So you can connect the two systems. But to answer the question, you don't have to know Salesforce as a Salesforce administrator to come over and learn the Marketing Cloud email specialist side of things. They're two completely different skill sets, but you're probably going to get more job offers if you know both, because companies say, oh, this person knows Salesforce and they know Marketing Cloud. I'm going to hire that person over the person who just knows Marketing Cloud or who just knows Salesforce. So hopefully that answers that. Just let me know if that did answer, Aman. But other than that, hopefully
Hey, Caleb,
that makes sense. Yep.
just to follow up on my last question, I've been through your entire course and just honestly, you do go over all the topics in video form. Anything you do discuss that we need to know for the exam, there is an example of you doing it. So it's not like I feel lost at sea. It's just to fully internalize something. Obviously, you kind of need to do it yourself eventually. So that was just why I asked that question. I have another question, if that's okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
What is a reasonable timeline from that, would you say, from beginning your course to being ready to take the exam? And I'm just being honest, I do work at this stuff. I put in time to this every day. So when I was doing the admin exam, I was focusing mainly on that and spent a lot of time trying to get that together. But now that that's out of the way, I'm dedicating my time to this. What is the reasonable timeline from course start to, you would say, taking the exam for the first time?
Yeah, so reasonably, it all depends on how much you're actually studying for it per day, how many hours you're devoting. But let's just say you're devoting 2 hours a day, and we're collaborating. Now, this this scenario here includes you collaborating with me, asking me, questions. I would personally say 1 month, if you're really working towards it. Now, once we get more materials in the course, once we get more, of the questions you're asking, Andrew, let's say you're going through the course and you're going through the exam outline and you're saying, Kaylin, I just don't really get, how do we properly segment people in Salesforce or in Marketing Cloud? How do we use a SQL query or a data filter? And I answer that and I create a video based off of that. I would say it should only take you about 2 to 3 weeks once we have all the questions that people have as they're going through the course. But for right now, for what we have in the course, and if you're doing these group coaching sessions on Saturdays, I would say a month from beginning of the course to actually passing the email specialist certification. It should only take you a month, because like I said, I'm going to cut out all of the extra stuff, anything that, let's say you're trying to go to, a YouTube video. I could say, hey, that YouTube video is irrelevant for you to be looking at right now, because the certification doesn't cover server-side JavaScript or APIs or something like that. So I'll just kind of keep you on track. If you're, staying a part of the course and you're, joining these coaching calls and asking these questions, really should only take a month. But that also depends on how much are you actually really working, Monday through Friday until we meet with each other on Saturdays like this. So timeline really should only take a month. I've already pretty much said, hey, this is what's going to be on the exam right here. So if you're studying this exam outline and you can answer these questions, which I don't know how long it would take you to actually really understand these questions. I would say some people, it could take them 2 or 3 days to answer every question. Other people, it might take a week or two, depending on what sort of, priorities you have beyond studying for the exam. But I think everybody that I've ever met, that I've worked with, has usually passed the exam within a month from start to finish. It's not a huge exam. You just do need to be aware of, this is exactly what's going to be covered on the exam. And I need to know these, pretty easily by the time I take the exam. So like, let's say, will we put our customers into lists or data extensions? Let's say you're researching lists versus data extensions in Marketing Cloud. You start to compile, okay, data extensions can hold this much data, lists can hold this much data, and therefore I'm going to use data extensions. Once you start understanding what data extensions are and what lists are, you're able to actually say, okay, I actually understand whether or not I should use data extensions versus a list in this specific scenario. Like on the actual email specialist exam, the question is, you've got 50,000 people inside of, a specific email send that you want to send out. Would you use a list or a data extension? And you're going to have to know, well, what does documentation say about 50,000 records or more, or 50,000 records or less? 50,000 records or less, you're going to be talking about lists. 50,000 records or more, if you're sending to your audience of 50,000 or more, you're going to be storing that audience in a data extension. So it's just a matter of, do you understand lists versus data extension? Do you understand the import options, like the data import wizard, or the data import activity, manually importing your data, APIs? So, you're just going to have to go through the course and start seeing what's being asked on the exam outline and what I'm covering in the course. And it's going to start to make a lot more sense once you're going through the course, because in the course, I've covered almost every single thing on the exam outline, but you might not be aware of it whenever you're going through the course if you haven't looked at the exam outline. So in all honesty, if you've looked through the course outline, the exam outline, and you go through the course, it might take you 7 days to pass to be ready to take the email specialist cert. So I think I think there's too many variables to say what's a reasonable timeline until, we get enough people to say, hey, I looked at the exam outline, I did your course, I asked you questions, I came to the office hours, and it took me, 17 days, or it took me 13 days or 30 days. So I think, Andrew, what your quest should be for this is look through the exam outline, go back through the course once you've looked through the exam outline again, and start to see where I covered, question number 6, where I covered question number 11, and, start to see, oh, he talks about this and this is on the exam outline. I need to take a note of this. And then come back with questions on next Saturday or the next time we run this and say, hey, from the course, you didn't cover this, or you didn't explain this in detail. Could you cover this more in our session today? And I think from there, we're going to have a true test of how long it's going to take you to actually pass the certification. But for right now, everything is covered. So, the variable is really at this point, it's whoever's taking the course. So it could be 30 days for one person, and it could be 7 days for you, Andrew. So I can't really say how long hypothetically it should take, but I will say it shouldn't take you more than 30 days.
That sounds good. Just, yeah, the only reason I ask is just because I came off studying for something else that, it took me a bit longer than I expected, just because of the scope of the whole thing. So now that I understand more how to study for these types of exams and how to train my mind to kind of dissect the material, as long as I prepare, I think using your course as the guideline, I think I should be okay.
Yep. Good. Yeah. And we'll keep having these sessions. And to answer some other questions, Xavier asks, do you recommend working with Salesforce or through Marketing Cloud? So I think your question, Xavier, is, do you recommend doing Salesforce first? Maybe, Xavier, if you come off of mute, you can elaborate on that question. But I think you're asking, should you do Salesforce first or Marketing Cloud? And I would say the answer is, it depends on you. Do you like the marketing automation side of technology? All Marketing Cloud is a tool that is used to send marketing messages. So we're back in Marketing Cloud here, and let's say we want to create, like I created some State Farm email messages just for fun. I'm not working for State Farm or anything, but I just created some email messages as if I was working for State Farm. Just tried to recreate one of their messages that they sent to me. Just tried to recreate that in Marketing Cloud. As you can see, this is what it looks like. I look like I'm a State Farm agent here. And it's just kind of a message that they sent out. And this just kind of shows you that, Marketing Cloud is just this. Like these are the messages you get from State Farm or from, Adidas or Nike. Do you enjoy building things out like that? That's the question. Do you want to do Salesforce first, or do you want to do, the marketing side?
No, you kind of answered my question once you first got into answering Andrew's question. So I could have put another message in there saying that you had answered my question already, but I got it. Okay.
Cool. Yeah. And I think that to answer anybody who's going to be watching this, because I'm going to put this on YouTube once again, so I think for anyone watching this, the answer of if you should do Salesforce or Marketing Cloud is this. Do you enjoy marketing automation? Do you enjoy marketing in general? And also, do you fully understand the grasp of how in demand Marketing Cloud is? So Marketing Cloud is one of those things where, think about it like this. Not everybody has access to Marketing Cloud. So if not everybody has access to something, the people who do have access are in much higher demand than the people who don't have access. And since there's a small minority of people who have access or who actually know the system, that means those small minority of that group of people are going to be in much higher demand than everyone else, because you have a skill set or a knowledge base that not many people have. So think about like a neuroscientist or a brain surgeon. How many brain surgeons do you personally know? Probably don't know any. And if you do, it's like one or two, maybe. So how that answers the question of why they get paid like probably $1 million a year, right? Because there's not many neurosurgeons in the world. And when somebody needs a brain surgery, they're calling on the one of the few neurosurgeons in the world. So it's all a law of supply and demand. Everything comes back to economics. It's just how much supply do you have of a material and how much demand do you have for that material or that product or that good or that service. You guys will just be in high demand once you know Marketing Cloud. That's why you can demand like, higher paying jobs. You can demand, better work from home arrangements or better working agreements or something that you value more in a negotiation. You can negotiate better because there's not many people who will know what you know. So I take that, I'm not saying Salesforce, like the Salesforce administrator cert isn't valuable. I'm not saying that at all because there's still a lot of people who don't know Salesforce. But when people first think about Salesforce, what do they usually go to? They go and they get the Salesforce admin cert. That's the first cert I got. That's the only certification I thought you could get. So I think a lot of people are thinking the same thing, which is why, I say Marketing Cloud because there's not many people who are going towards it. So the last question I see here, or a couple more, Suresh asked, is there any Trailblazer group created where we can be a part of and collaborate with each other? Yeah, so first there are Trailblazer groups, and I will actually put links to those Trailblazer groups in the description below today. Yeah, so to answer that question, there is a Marketing Cloud Trailblazer group, and I will put the link to that group below in the YouTube video and in the description below in the course. The Marketing Cloud Career Development Program, in the Career Development Program. Also, we have LinkedIn and a Facebook group that is becoming more active. That's going to be for people who just are a part of the MinuteAdmin ecosystem. So if you've ever even, watched any of my YouTube videos, or if you've ever collaborated with me, feel free to join that Facebook group or that LinkedIn group, and we can definitely start a conversation over there. But there are Trailblazer groups. Yep. And I'll put the links to the Facebook and LinkedIn groups in the description below as well. And Aman asks, Kaylin, will you give training through recorded session videos? Yes. So to kind of clarify what I want to do from here on out for the course is I want to take this video, give it to everybody, but for the people who have taken the course and who are taking the course, you're definitely feel free to join in on these coaching sessions here. And we will actually record video sessions of me going through Marketing Cloud and actually doing projects. So if you're interested in like learning SQL in Marketing Cloud, Automation Studio, Journey Builder, creating content in Content Builder, segmenting your subscribers, or running reports, I'll be doing sessions on that as the weeks go forward from here on out. So to answer the question of will there be recorded sessions? Yep, we will have these Saturday sessions. I will email members of the course to let them know that there are sessions available to join when there is a session, and we'll record all these sessions and I'll put them back into the course. And also from any questions that are very specific throughout the week, I'll start creating recordings to actually answer one-off questions that came from sessions like this. And then I'll start inserting those back into the course. So if you join these calls, your questions are going to get answered and your questions will be turned into videos that will later go back into the course. So you'll get a double whammy pretty much there, where you'll get your questions answered on these recorded calls where I'll be walking through Marketing Cloud, and questions will be put back into the course. So you have lifetime access to the course. So you'll always be able to go back to those sessions, to these sessions and to the recordings that I'll add into the course. So with that being said, I just want to see if anyone else has any other questions as we wrap this up, because I want to be cognizant of everyone's Saturday, get you some time back in the day, and I'll upload this recording. So does anyone have any other questions? Yep, Amit.
Hi, my apology. I had to switch off my camera because I had to come out, but I didn't want to miss this precious session. So my question is, let's say one of us clears the certification, and as you mentioned that there aren't many people those who have the hands-on experience because it's not available like we have the playground and other things for admin. So let's say if someone clears the certification first, will the companies consider them or give them the chance to get their hands on only because they're already certified? So my call is, if they're certified, will they be considered like will they be given the preference during the interviews or
Right. So yeah, so great question. And everything is variable. So every company and every person is variable. So think about it like this. Just like with a college degree, every company it's almost like a college degree at this point. So you know how whenever you're applying for jobs, companies will say, hey, we want to make sure you have like an associate's or bachelor's before applying, like that's just one of their requirements. Now, does that bachelor degree actually mean that you're more qualified than somebody else who knows, about the job and doesn't have the bachelor degree? It doesn't necessarily mean that. But just like with everything in life, people like security, right? Like they like the idea of, oh, this guy or this girl, they have this certification. I'm going to trust them more because they have the cert and they pretty much gave me, it's their way of saying you're verified. It's like a blue check mark on Twitter or a blue check mark on Instagram. It's like a verification method. Now, with that being said, that's just human preference. Like people have their preferences. Hiring managers are just human beings at the end of the day. If you can get in and you can get the interview and show them you know what you're talking about, but you don't have the certification, that's just as impressive. Now, they may say, hey, we want you to get the certification when you come and work for us, but that's for a lot of times, to be honest with you, consulting partners of Salesforce are the ones that really want you to have the certifications because it boosts their consulting rating with Salesforce. And it makes them a higher level partner the more people they have hired on who have certs. But let's say you go work for a company like, I don't know, I'm just randomly naming a company. So whatever company hears this, don't get upset if I say your company name. But let's say you go work for Toyota and you're the marketing cloud email specialist at Toyota. Toyota doesn't necessarily care whether or not you have the email specialist certification because it's not like they have a partnership with Salesforce to say, hey, we've got a bunch of people who are certified now, boost our rating. Toyota doesn't care. They just want somebody who knows marketing cloud. And if you apply for a marketing cloud position, first of all, you need to make sure your resume portrays that you understand marketing cloud and know marketing cloud. That's for a whole nother session. B, when you get to the interview, you just need to make sure that you are able to speak logically about marketing cloud and you're able to have a legitimate conversation about marketing cloud and show them, hey, I know what I'm talking about when it comes to marketing cloud. And they're going to be the ones that say, okay, Amit actually knows what he's talking about. We're going to hire him. You don't have to have the certification to do that. But what you do need to have is you need to have a working knowledge of that. Like that would be like me, having a conversation with, somebody who's intellectually on the level that I'm at. That's all they're really looking at is, can you intellectually stimulate me when it comes to conversation about marketing cloud? If you can't, and you're not there and you don't know what you're talking about, they're going to say, yeah, I don't know if he or she belongs in the circle. that's all it is. It's essentially, can you have a conversation about it? Do you know about it? And could you actually do it whenever whenever the job comes to you? So certification or not, I think that's a big, I think people, I think very technically about it and very like black and white about it, when in reality, you're just dealing with people. And do those people say you have to have a cert before you can apply? Or do they say, hey, we'll take somebody who understands Marketing Cloud and can talk about it and could actually do it in real life? I think there's more people on the side of, we want somebody who can actually talk about it and do it rather than just say they have a cert. Because there's a lot of people who have certs and can't do a lot of stuff. But my whole goal is not only get you the cert, but be able to talk about it, understand it, and crush it in job interviews and get these jobs.
Sure. So I think, your live illustrations is going to really help us, because,
Right.
When we actually go for the interview and we have the certification, we also have some knowledge coming from you, like live examples. So that will help us. So I look forward to it. Thank you. Thanks for that.
Yep, no problem. Yeah, that's exactly what the course is designed for. Help you guys get the real world experience, get real world knowledge, understand scenarios, be able to talk about it, communicate. It's all about the communication. I'm just teaching you another language. I'm just teaching you how to speak this other language called Marketing Cloud. And once you can speak that language, you can go to anywhere, just like you would if you learned Spanish or English. You could go anywhere in the world and talk to people on that level, and then they would accept you into their quote unquote into their culture, right? Like if you go to Spain and you're speaking nothing but English, you're just going to walk by people and they're going to say, okay, he doesn't speak my language, I can't talk to him. But if you can speak it, they're going to accept you and they're going to bring you in. They're going to talk with you. You're going to have opportunities. So that's all I'm trying to do here with you in Marketing Cloud. Any other questions? So I think if there's no other questions here, we're good for today's session. This will be uploaded to YouTube. It'll also be uploaded to the Marketing Cloud Career Development Program. Like I said, this was an introductory lesson or an introductory session where we're just kind of, introducing the exam, introducing the fact that you need to know the exam outline as you go through the course so you can actually really get the most out of the course. And then next time we meet, we're actually going to start going over subscriber and data management and actually creating, some subscribers and putting subscribers into Marketing Cloud. And we'll cover all of these sections right here, which is 28% of the exam. So by the next session, we should be very comfortable with 28% of the exam. And, we'll have all of our questions answered and we'll be able to, you'll be able to rewatch those recordings. But we're going to continue with these Saturday sessions, and we're going to have, members of the course join the sessions, ask questions, and be able to really understand and speak this Marketing Cloud language. So, the diagram will be included into the course, and I will speak with everyone soon. Thank you all for joining me on this session, and I hope everyone has a great Saturday.
Thank you, Kalen.
All right, everyone.